streaming. We just watched the first episode of The Mandalorian, and I very much enjoyed it. It was a short, 39-minute long episode, and just like with any kind of streaming show, you just want to watch more and more. And so, part of me is excited that we'll have something to look forward to every week with a brand new episode. But part of me does wish that we could watch that next episode. But I think in the long run, this will really boost people to come to Disney Plus by them putting this out on that schedule. But anyway, it did what a pilot is supposed to do. It got my interest. What were some of the things that you enjoyed just at first glance of The Mandalorian? It didn't have to be something specific, but something that you noticed about The Mandalorian that you really liked.
Well, I think they did a really good job on all the, I don't know if they were animatronics, like in some of the faces.
Oh, you could definitely tell the faces were
artistic things. But I really enjoyed that, seeing the different creatures and the different how they looked physically.
Yeah, not just the makeup. Many, like right now, we have the episode playing in the background while we're talking. We see the bounty that he originally goes after, the fish person who looks like the from Hellboy.
Yeah.
Abe, I think was his name in Hellboy. But that's obviously all makeup. But still, it's very well done. It looks like a really cool creature. And so you have something like that, but also you have the person that we see later on that helps the Mandalorian to get closer to his target that he later gets.
Helps him ride that creature.
Right. And you could definitely tell that was animatronic face. Yeah.
At least the mouth area.
Right. And obviously all that was pioneered by Jim Henson and Muppet Sesame Street fame. Who developed all that. We've seen that in like the old Ninja Turtles movies.
Yeah.
Where it's all what do you call it? Practical effects.
Yeah.
To where that
like puppeteering.
Yeah. Yeah, and obviously and that's the great thing about Star Wars and the great thing about the show is that Star Wars tries to incorporate the best of both worlds. So not just trying to be cheap and which it's not necessarily cheap. The 3D aspect of it, the computer generated effects versus the practical effects. I think they did a real good job at blending both of those things together. Now, the first thing that we saw in this scene that was so cool is just the action of it, and obviously we had that throughout the episode as well, especially with that last fight scene prior to them coming to his main target in the show. But yeah, a lot of cool gun scenes, a lot of cool physical action. I really like his grapple hook, or whatever you call it.
He can
right at the beginning of the episode, and what we saw in the trailer when he gets him by the legs and pulls him out into the door in order to cut him in half.
I wasn't expecting something that gruesome. Well, I say gruesome, but you don't see any blood.
Yeah, well, we saw it from the trailer where
I don't remember the trailer.
Yeah, the trailer that they first showed us about the Mandalorian was that first fight scene where the guy gets into the door, but how they cut it together was the person goes in the door. Pardon the pun. The door comes together, and then it cuts to someone in carbonite.
Yes.
And so we're thinking, oh, he captured that guy in the door, and they put him in carbonite later. So it's almost like, they tied him up with the door. But actually, he got cut in half.
Yeah.
Because his main target was this guy.
That's what you couldn't remember earlier, the carbonite.
Right, yeah. Yeah. And I said that Carl Weathers was Lando Calrissian. Oh boy!
That's okay.
Yeah, I may have to go back and edit that out. But yeah, this was such a good episode just to get it started off.
Yeah, definitely.
This guy here, I forgot what he's off of, but I've seen him in a lot of comedy stuff. The pilot on the junk speeder. Mm-hmm.
I noticed that too. I didn't say anything. I can't remember where he's from.
And there's a ship.
Oh, excuse me.
So again, big takeaways. The show looks great.
Yes.
It
doesn't look cheesy either.
It doesn't look cheap either, and it's not cheap. There is a lot of good action. Some callbacks to a lot of things. Like the funny thing that I mentioned to you when we watched the episode was him mentioning Life Day. And so that's a joke.
Didn't get that.
Instead of calling it Christmas on the Christmas Star Wars special, they called it Life Day. And so that was like because
is it on here?
Because they don't want you to see it.
I'm surprised it's not on Disney Plus.
I'm sure. Oh no, they want you to forget about that as much as possible. That is just a funny thing that they did. Something to think about. I believe that this first episode was written and produced not only by Favreau, but I believe Dave Filoni as well. I know Dave Filoni is directing some of the episodes. I'm pretty sure he didn't direct this one. But it is, or it may have been just Jon Favreau wrote this and David Filoni helped. But if you don't know who that is, Dave Filoni is like the Padawan of George Lucas, who, when he was there, he, really poured into Dave Filoni. Yeah. And so now Dave Filoni's done Star Wars, Clone Wars, and Rebels. Before those things, he did Avatar: Last Airbender, the cartoon, not the movie, and came on with Lucasfilm. And so the hope is that this will push him to possibly either become head of like a Kevin Feige over Star Wars, or maybe just to make movies for them. Oh yeah, or develop more Disney Plus shows. Okay, I'm kind of going off on a tangent. So, yes. Show was fun. We want to watch more. It looked good. It's not cheesy. It's not cheap.
It's a good. It left on a good cliffhanger to make you want to watch more.
Yeah, let's talk about some story stuff. Yes. So the one thing that I have no clue about is this Mandalorian camp that they had.
Because he went there and brought
back the bounty.
And then he put it onto his shoulder.
Yeah, she made a piece for him. So yeah, that symbol that you saw looked like a cow head or something, like a cow skull. That is the Mandalorian symbol.
Okay.
So he's going into this encampment or something, and so again, I'm very ignorant as far as Mandalorian stuff.
Mandalorian hub.
Well, I thought that Boba Fett was pretty much the last one of his kind, so it makes you think...
I didn't even know he was a Mandalorian. I just thought he was a bounty hunter.
Well, the show is called The Mandalorian.
Well, I'm talking about Boba Fett.
Right. Oh, okay. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, not this one.
Right. Yeah. And the suits and armor, or at least you could tell his helmet, is made out of that special metal that is corresponding with the Mandalorian people.
It's very rare, apparently.
Yeah, it's like Wakanda and what's that metal that they have?
I can't remember that one.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, the metal that's specific to them. It's a similar thing with the Mandalorian with this kind of steel. Yeah. And so Boba Fett, his whole armor was made out of this stuff. And so with him, I'm sure it's just his helmet, and then he's got that little piece now from that. So how he got or acquired that steel was he went into this place. Obviously beforehand, Carl Weathers' character is telling him that there is a bounty that doesn't have a puck.
Because he's wanting more money. He
that
said,
has deep
give me
pockets.
Your highest bounty.
Exactly. And he tells him to go out and do this, or suggests it to him. And then he goes in and he sees these stormtroopers. And so this is after the Rise of the Jedi. Is that what it's called? The last Star Wars movie prior to...
I'm not sure.
Empire Strikes Back. And then... That's pretty bad.
I know. We've been... Maybe we should have prepared a little bit more
by
watched
watching,
all the watched all the Star Wars movies.
But again, this is after the Empire's been decimated, and yet there's still little remnants of the Empire because you saw the person that was there behind the counter, and we've seen him in the trailer as well.
Mm-hmm.
That he had that little necklace, and that was the emblem of the Empire.
Oh, wasn't
the First Order, I guess.
The Empire's logo or stamp on the medal?
Yeah, of course.
Wasn't it like that? Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't just his necklace, but part of that steel. And so him getting that as a token of his bounty before he got his full reward, he was told that there was a specific bounty or a person that they're looking after with very little information. Only what did they call it? Just a tracker.
Yeah, the tracker, and
how
then
old
he said the last
the target
4
was,
digits,
and the last
and
4
that's how
digits
old
of
he
some
was.
kind of code.
He said he was 50 years old.
Well, the code wasn't dealing with his age.
I thought it was.
No.
Oh.
From what I thought was that the code was a part of some location, and they only had part of it. So at least he knew some of where to go.
Oh, okay.
But because he didn't have all of it, that's why it made it harder to pinpoint where he was.
I thought
that's what it was.
Last 4 digits was his
No, I thought they said he's only 50. He said 50.
Yeah, he said 50.
But that wasn't part of the code. Well, anyway.
Okay, that's fine.
I thought that was separate. But they're going after this, and we already talked about, he finds this guy that helps him ride the beast.
Actually, the guy found him.
Yeah, and he wanted to help him because
he wants those bandits and stuff out of the little area.
And so we skip ahead a little. We saw the droid, the IG-88, I think is what his name is.
The bounty droid.
Yeah, who
wants to self-destruct every
kept
5
on
seconds.
doing some. Yeah, right. That was really funny. Whereas they finally found cover and stuff, and they're shooting at him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to deploy self-destruct. I cannot be taken in." And lo and behold, they kill them all. And then at the end, when they finally get the door open, which, like I said, I thought that was pretty neat, that it was reminiscent of the Phantom Menace when Qui-Gon Jinn does the hole in the door with his lightsaber, that they did a similar thing with the gun turret. Which, just to mention something before we get to the bounty, there was a lot of humor in it, and it wasn't cheesy. I thought it was funny, like when he's struggling with the creature to get on the thing. The humor that was with the self-destruct thing, that was funny. Just a lot of stuff like that. It was entertaining. It wasn't just all just serious and stoic, but it had some good humor in it. Okay, so they break down the door because what made me think of that as far as humor was even the humor of, how do we get the door open? And then you see him look over, but then you see the droid, his little eyes go, and him his torso not move. It was just looking over at the Gatling gun.
I didn't notice that.
I didn't mention it either, but it looked like what they drew out was like a loaf of bread, a slice of bread.
Oh, yeah, how the door was.
Yeah, the shape of the door, at least the shape of their going around it. This just makes me want to watch it again, just looking at it as we're talking. But
I would like to.
I want to watch it again. Maybe not right now because we want to watch.
Maybe we should have watched it again and then did the.
Well, I mean, this is just a first impressions kind of thing. You're just talking about it afterwards. But the bounty that they find is like this little car seat looking thing.
He's 50 years old, but.
Yeah, they said that the target's old.
Yeah.
But they don't know what it is. And so it's him and the droid looking at it. And we joked and said, is that like a baby Palpatine clone?
Oh.
At least I said that, and you said something like his head. Or something.
In the beginning, they were saying 50 years old, so I was like, okay, maybe Ben. Maybe they're trying to find Ben.
Ben would have not even... Oh. Yeah.
Because he disappeared, they didn't...
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't even think of that. So you actually thought the whole time that they were looking after Obi-Wan?
Yeah, I thought they were looking for Obi-Wan.
Oh, man. I didn't occur to me at all.
Because I was like, oh, he's older. He's up there.
Yeah, he would have been around that.
But I'm kind of... Well, I think it would have been interesting if, they found him But I like this twist where it's the
Yeah, so who do we find?
Baby Yoda.
Or not Yoda, but
well,
one
not
of his
Yoda, but
creature,
one of his
descendants or whatever.
I don't want to say offspring, but one of his species.
Yeah, and so it makes you wonder, like, how did this happen?
I thought he was the last of his kind.
Right, and so I wonder if it leads to a lot of questions. Is that a clone? Did they somehow get a hold of Yoda's DNA and were able to replicate it like they did with, the clone army with Boba Fett?
Because if you remember, the researcher, or the professor, he was like, "That's not what we agreed on. You can't kill him."
Oh, right.
Remember?
Yeah. So he
was like, "I'm just covering all the bases, just in case they can't bring him alive or whatever."
Saying that they would kill the target. They could kill the target for a lower fee or whatever. Mm-hmm. Right. And so, for some reason, I can't recall, the droid wants to kill the baby.
Yeah.
Maybe because he's afraid of the species or something.
He probably went behind the professor's back and was like, "I want you to bring him in dead."
Yeah,
that could have been it.
Yeah, because the robot itself, he didn't know that, or the Mandalorian didn't know that he was a part of the bounty with him. Right. And so it could, like you're saying, that he told him specifically you're to kill it.
Yeah.
Whereas for him, he told him a half truth.
Mm-hmm. Which that puts a good twist on it too.
Yeah.
Because he ends up killing the robot because he wants to kill it.
Now, wait a second. Maybe... Well, I don't know. Maybe the reason why he did that was so that he wouldn't have to split.
Yeah.
Because so one of them would die. I don't know.
Yeah. But
I don't know his reasons.
The little baby Yoda is alive.
Yeah, and it showed the Mandalorian holding out his finger to...
Yeah, just kind of play with the little baby.
So again, things that we don't know. Where did that baby come from?
Exactly.
The second, this Mandalorian camp that I keep calling it. Who are they? Are they all true Mandalorians? Did they just pick up the moniker? You know what I mean? Because after this point, Boba Fett would have been dead by now, or in the Sarlacc pit. And so was it that people found his armor afterwards and they kind of not worshipped him, but, maybe liked his philosophy and stuff, and so they took his armor and wanted to create their own little group. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, they're not true-blooded Mandalorians, but...
And I'm sure further on we are definitely going to get more.
Oh, of course. I'm just saying questions that we don't know. And it may be something as simple as people that are familiar with, and we're actually looking at it right now, familiar with the lore will know, what's involved here with the Mandalorian stuff. Because I'm sure that in Clone Wars or Rebels, there's mention of, just like the Resistance, to where that there's a spark. In little tiny groups. And who's this lady? She's the forger.
Maybe she's
What's her connection? Of course, it seems like she's the head because he's coming in to offer, his bounty to the group. Because
this is definitely like the hub of the Mandalorians.
Right.
Because you saw all, the little kids with the helmets running around.
Right, and like I said, the big symbol of the Mandalorian people.
But
so yeah, we're really excited. Looking forward to looking at Baby Yoda. Yeah. And so that would be pretty cool if this actually pays off towards the later movies.
Excuse me.
Because I would imagine. So the next Star Wars movie comes out this December. It's now November. So the Mandalorian's still going to be going on prior to the movie, right?
Mm-hmm. I would
say. I wonder if there will be any kind of tie to it at all. If probably not.
But. Yeah, probably not in that sense, but it's still a really cool concept, and I want to see where it goes.
Yeah. So my thinking was like when I think it was Age of Ultron. there was something that happened on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that was a big deal, like with Hydra or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or
you know
what I'm saying? Like it was some kind of thing like
happened
that
in the episodes.
happened in the TV show prior to the movie, like that weekend or that week before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, something like the show would be on a Wednesday, and then the movie came out on Friday or Thursday, and people who watched the episode would have a clear connection of something that happened.
Yeah.
So I would doubt that would happen with something like this, but that would be pretty interesting if they do. But I could just see it being its own self-contained, as compared to that movie.
In this scene, she's forging his shoulder piece from that rare metal, and he's like getting flashbacks of what happened to him as a child.
Yeah, so again,
which I'm sure we'll get way more.
Yeah,
into
so
that.
what is this?
Yeah.
When is that taking place?
It definitely pulls you in and saying, hey, you want to know more about this stuff.
That's a good point to bring out, because we would guess he's around 30, right?
Oh, I don't know.
30 and a half, maybe. My point is, if this takes place 27 years before The Force Awakens, so maybe that chaos was when the Empire was brought down.
Oh, could be.
You know what I mean? And now there's this power struggle, maybe.
High power.
Right. Maybe there's this power of chaos going on due to the Death Star being blown up a second time.
Yeah.
That it led to all this chaos and then him away from his parents. So that was the first episode of The Mandalorian. I'm sure that she and I will be watching a lot of stuff to be more informed and hit ourselves over the head with what we missed from this, like me with Carl Weathers. I still can't get that out of my head. But
come struggle along with us.
Yeah, right. Because I would consider myself more than a casual fan, but there's some things about Star Wars I do not know, and so hopefully the next time that we do this, we'll actually do this live. So if you would like to correct us live in the chat or anything like that, you can do that with us. We can ask questions together and discuss these things, and we'll do it here on this channel. So now, hopefully by the time you'll be seeing this video, we'll have another video up about Lady and the Tramp. So we're going to watch that, I believe.
I was about to make a joke and be like, now it's time to watch Lady and the Tramp, but I didn't want to.
Where we'll see Lady cut in half by a door.
No!
All right. We'll leave it there, and we will see you guys in the next video.